Continuing from the previous episode 2320. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. You can search for Fighting the Sky God of Yan Di in Baidu to find the latest chapter. Careful. Xuanhe stretched out his hand to protect the little medical fairy behind him, and then looked at the two in front of him with some indifference. Both of them had extremely strong poisonous mist energy surging, and a strong sense of crisis emanated from the old man among them. However, Xuanhe was still somewhat surprised that the two of them were able to escape the vigilance of their own souls and secretly *** the essence of the second group of the 8 poisonous snakes and beasts. This kind of thing to be taken advantage of, as a free thug, if you don't have any hard power, I'm afraid it is extremely easy to get into trouble. Susu. Thank you very much. A long voice slowly sounded from the edge of this isolated green barrier. The old man's body was surging, holding a ball of light on each of his hands, rubbing his palms lightly, feeling the heartbeat-like touch of the scarlet magic core. His sinister smile was particularly cold and hot. Although this kind of thing is useless to him, but it can save a lot of time in hunting the 8 poisonous snakes and beasts, and Elder Fang Fang is also slightly happy about it. Poison Fang, what are you doing? This is the precious poisonous divine body that I painstakingly selected from the Great Thousand Worlds. You are committing the following crimes. Return the power of the 2 regiments. Seeing this, the poisonous soul on the side hurriedly roared in a solemn tone, apparently recognizing the 2 people who suddenly flashed out at a glance. Elder Fang Fang in the palace and the subordinate forces of the Poison God Palace, the poisonous girl of the Scorpion Gate. He. Poison soul? What you said is very true, but today I also brought my disciples to hunt down the 8 poisonous snakes and beasts, and everything pays attention to a cause and effect. Elder Fang Fang had a gloomy expression on his face and said with a smirk on his face, but Xuanhe could sense that this old immortal gaze glanced at the little medical fairy from time to time, as if he was investigating something. In addition to this guy's uncompromising action to ** the essence of the 2 groups of the 8 poisonous snakes and beasts, I am afraid that the comers are not good. Xuanhe, protect the little medical fairy for a while. Within Xuanhe's body, the 5 holy flames slowly wriggled, and immediately began to merge in his sea of fighting qi, secretly using his soul power to speak to Xuanhe. Yep, Xuanhe nodded slightly. She naturally knew that the little doctor who had just broken through to Do Xian was definitely not the opponent of the 2 reincarnation powerhouses in front of her. Immediately, golden flames ignited on her delicate body, and she got closer to the little doctor. Immortal, once the other party has any hostility, with the power of his holy flame and divine weapon, it is enough to protect the safety of the little medical immortal. Seeing this, the little Dr. Fairy was a little dissatisfied, but at this time she couldn't do more, she could only bite her teeth lightly and stand in place. It's just that the little medical fairy at this time did not pay attention to the other 2, but slowly lowered his head and looked at the snake and scorpion venomous man standing motionless on the edge of the green barrier, as if thinking about something. Senior's words are reasonable, but the snake and scorpion venomous man with the head and snake body in front of him is one of the ancestors of our snake and scorpion sect, so these things must be taken back as a junior. And there seems to be some interesting things below. Aren't seniors going to explain a thing or two? After a while, the woman beside Poison Fang took a step forward, and then the needle light faced each other. With her beautiful face, graceful figure, and her resentful voice, this woman's aura turned out to be a little fierce. Double reincarnation? Xuanhe looked at this woman with a little surprise. The perception of soul power came back. This woman's strength is not extremely terrifying, but why can he feel a strange feeling of panic and unease? Xuanhe, this guy is not strong, but his control of poison is extremely terrifying. In an instant, looking at the 2 people on the opposite side, the poisonous soul turned pale. Go! With a cold snort, the majestic flame energy suddenly burst out from Xuanhe's body. Flame and poison are 2 extremely extreme powers, one burns everything, and the other poisons everything with silent power. Playing with fire. Be careful not to set yourself on fire by playing with fire. Elder Fang Fang sneered, and then circles of scarlet poisonous mist quickly condensed behind him, and in an instant it turned into a ferocious energy poisonous snake, quietly crawling behind him. The scarlet poisonous mist actually slowed down Xuanhe's speed of gathering fighting skills, and then raised his head, looking at Elder Fang Fang's gloomy smile, there was always a hairy feeling in his heart. I'll stop the rest of the person. It seems that this Fang Elder can only ask you. This time, I must die. Although Poison Soul Child has not fully recovered from his injuries, he can only grit his teeth when he looks at the green barrier below and the two groups of energy essence that have been robbed in front of him. Just give me some time. Xuanhe's cheeks were filled with icy killing intent, and he glanced at the surroundings at will. He could clearly see that the space here was so solidly stabilized by the poison god devil pool that even the power of the soul could not penetrate. I was originally worried that the old monsters in the poison god palace would be touched, but there is a strong poisonous mist like the poison god devil pool, so don't worry. Whoa! As Xuanhe thought about it, his body moved, and the glass-colored holy flames directly transformed into fiery giant pythons. Under the blessing of the majestic power of reincarnation, they pierced through the void with a puff and gnawed away at the Fang Elder. It's just a reincarnation step. Just a few of you to pay homage to my poisonous art, Su. Seeing Xuanhe's ferocious attack, Elder Fang waved his big hand, and the scarlet venomous snake that surrounded him roared and squirmed eerily in the void. Bang bang bang! The flaming python roared out and instantly hit the scarlet poisonous snake beside the Fang Elder, and a huge rebound force permeated and directly ejected its attack. The moment the flame python was bounced off, it shattered a little bit, and the hot flame storm and poisonous mist intertwined, making this space look extremely strange. It's really strong. Seeing that his attack was broken at will, Xuanhe's cheeks swelled with solemnity. Obviously, under the premise of not using the battle formation master and the lower body, Xuanhe's true combat power is probably the ordinary triple reincarnation level. The triple reincarnation step in front of me has to say that this is an extremely difficult challenge. After passing, Xuanhe will undoubtedly gain a new life. Tianzhao boy, die! Seeing Xuanhe actually motionless, the body of the Elder Fang slowly rose up with countless dense poisonous mists, and the poisonous snake behind him made bursts of strange roars that terrified the soul, and a force that wiped out all things slowly emerged. Yes, strong. But try this. After a while, on Xuanhe's skin, bursts of cyan dragon scales and glazed flames swept out, and a lotus fire platform about the size of his head slowly floated out from behind Xuanhe. There are a total of 5 flame liquids of different colors rising slowly around the lotus fire platform, and each rise will bring a touch of extremely violent energy. In the center of the lotus platform, there is a 5-color lotus seed the size of a longan, lying quietly in it. At the moment when this kind of attack appeared, the entire space trembled, even the arrogant Elder Fang. His eyelids twitched violently, and an indescribable unease suddenly poured into his heart. From this kind of attack, even with his peak triple reincarnation strength, he could smell a wave of death. For the convenience of reading next time, you can click the favorite below to record this time. Chapter 2336 was calculated. The reading record, you can see it next time you open the bookshelf. If you like Fighting the Heavens God, Yandy, please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. Continuing from the previous episode 2321. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. You can search for Fighting the Sky God of Yandy in Baidu to find the latest chapter. Do not. How can it be? What kind of power are you? The fire lotus surged, and countless scarlet monsters and poisonous mists in the entire void retreated, leaving a space in the center for Xuanhe's lotus fire platform to stand. Don't you know very well? Fall for me. The corners of Xuanhe's mouth were hideous, and then the palm of his hand slowly raised the lotus fire platform, as if he was admiring a perfect sculpture. As soon as the words fell, Xuanhe lightly released his hand and projected it towards the position of the fangs. Boom! The lotus fire platform seemed a little quiet on Xuanhe's palm, but just after leaving Xuanhe's body, bursts of 5-colored flames raged out from the lotus platform. Wherever he went, the void trembled, and even those extremely dense poisonous mists were burned into white mist and disappeared. Intermediate immortal art. The rage of the fangs. At this moment, the scarlet poisonous mist around Elder Fangfang turned into countless scarlet liquids, all of which fell on the energy poisonous snake beside him, roaring and roaring. Tear off. Absorbing the power of so many poisonous mists, the body of the poisonous snake swelled up instantly, and splendid poisonous lines gushed out, and then opened the snake's mouth, revealing a pair of white poisonous fangs that were dozens of feet tall. The ferocious fangs were sharp, and they contained the terrifying power of destroying life. The roar was combined with the blessing of the celestial power of the elder Fang Fang, and it released a terrible wave that could crush even the soul. It became dazed, and the body became shaky. Boom! The two attacked and contacted, and suddenly bursts of violent energy exploded. Obviously, an attack of this level was a scene of equal strength. Bang bang bang! The void was squirming. Xuanhe and Elder Fang Fang quickly retreated. Xuanhe's breath became chaotic, but there were large and small fiery red burning marks on the skin of Elder Fang Fang on the side, looking extremely miserable. "Brother Xuanhe, leave it to me." Just as the two were quietly confronting each other, a sweet voice emerged, and a golden halo suddenly spread out, chasing and killing the Fang Fang elders directly behind. Damn, what a hell! A mere first-level reincarnation-level boy can actually beat me to such an injury? Next time, I will definitely take off all your fur and refine you into a poisonous person for me to drive from generation to generation. Scarlet blood dripped from Elder Fang Fang's eyes and ears, and the latter roared extremely resentfully, just watching Xuanhe's attack. He could only grit his teeth and weigh it. "Don't worry, you have no chance." Peefed. The golden halo flashed away, and an ancient creature spread its wings, and immediately a golden paw print broke through the last poisonous mist barrier of the Elder Fang Fang without warning, crushing its body and poison elixir. "Don't get your clothes dirty." Brother Xuanhe doesn't like it. After cooperating with the five-legged golden crow to kill the poisonous tooth elder, Xuanhe casually swept away the scarlet poisonous blood left in front of him, and then stretched out one foot and kicked the poisonous tooth in a dying state. Peefed. A sound. The body of the fangs in the state of being completely destroyed was directly kicked by Xuanhe like a dead dog to the side of Xuanhe, and then the girl hurriedly ran to Xuanhe's side, supporting the latter, with a worried look on her face. "I'm fine. There is one other person, and she must not be allowed to run away." Xuanhe suppressed the violent holy flame in his body and spoke quietly. The reincarnation of Buddha's anger just now consumed nearly 80% of his reincarnation power, but Elder Fang Fang also consumed nearly 90% of his strength in order to resist, so he was killed by Xuanhe. "Don't worry, that guy can't run either." Xuanhe smiled sweetly at this, and quietly supported Xuanhe, looking like she was watching the fun. "Hateful, poison soul, you led outsiders into the forbidden area of the Poison God Palace to hunt poisonous beasts without authorization, and today you also killed the elders in the palace. You deserve to die." The poisonous the side looked at the poisonous soul with venom. Even she could not have imagined that the arrogant elder of the threefold reincarnation had fallen so easily. "A lot of nonsense." Peefed. Poison soul child will not talk nonsense with this guy. The palm contains the most powerful poisonous mist and slaps the poisonous girl's delicate body. Suddenly, white mist appeared on the body of this mighty poisonous girl. After the breath, it disappeared. Clean. The body and spirit were all destroyed, and not even a corpse was left. Even if the strength has not yet recovered to its peak, the strength of the poison soul is probably not comparable to this poisonous girl. This is the poison pill of the 8 poisonous demon snake beast, and this is the light group formed by its blood essence. In conjunction with some of the remaining lessons in the body of this Fang Elder, restore some of the breath in your body. After the poisonous girl was dealt with, the space returned to calm, and the poisonous soul hurriedly instructed the little medical fairy. Poison Soul Child's initial plan was indeed to cultivate the little medical fairy into a poison cauldron, and prepare for her absorption in the future, but the scene that happened now made her change her mind. Since the helpers behind this girl are so fierce, why not follow them? Even the poisonous soul faintly felt that, with this seemingly weak girl in front of him, terror was the future of the Poison God Palace. Yep, little Dr. Immortal nodded, then closed his eyes, adjusted his breath, and began to absorb. As for Xuanhe and the others, they also sat quietly on the side, recovering their fighting chi energy. After all, the world below is too unknown, and Xuanhe's cautiousness will not rush to go before he regains his strength. "No, it can't be swallowed. My poison body is quite special. Before Emperor Do, I could only use the poison pill that you refined for me." After breaking through Do Xian, I could only devour a new poison pill, the one before fusion. It's just that the poison pill of these 8 poisonous snakes seems to be missing something. After a long time, Xuanhe opened her eyes and stared at the 2 groups of light in front of her, wondering. What's wrong? Xuanhe heard this and hurriedly asked. I don't know. According to my devouring trajectory just now, the original poison pill in my body seems to be too inferior to the poison pill of the 8 poisonous snakes, and it vaguely reveals some disdain for devouring. Following its breath, it seems that there is something very attractive to it in the green enchantment below. That kind of thing is countless times more tyrannical than the poisonous pill of the 8 poisonous snakes. After the little doctor fairy finished speaking, her beautiful eyes looked at the green barrier where the snake and scorpion venomous man stood in the quiet state below. Hoo, if that's the case, then go down and have a look. Xuanhe nodded heavily, then he began to look at the time. The green enchantment is tight and airtight, whether it is using soul power, spiritual power or holy flame, etc., it is still impossible to break through and explore the world behind. Moreover, following Xuanhe's induction to no avail, for a while, the holy flame in his body sent out a trace of extremely disturbing fluctuations. Wang buzz. In an instant, Xuanhe also sensed it, but at this moment the artifact bracelet on her wrist suddenly trembled. The 5-legged golden crow gushed out from it, turned into a small golden crow and stood on Xuanhe's shoulder, and then his eyes were locked tightly under the green barrier, and he muttered, "This kind of fluctuation. Could it be between artifacts? Resonance? That legendary poison god Cauldron really exists under this world?" For the convenience of reading next time, you can click the favorite below to record this time. Chapter 2337 solves hidden dangers. The reading record, you can see it when you open the bookshelf next time. If you like Fighting the Heavens God, Yandy, please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. Continuing from the previous episode 2322. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. You can search for Fighting the Sky God of Yandy in Baidu to find the latest chapter. Scorpion Venom has no memory of the world below. But according to some vague memories in his body, this guy seems to be the guard who guards this poisonous pool space. If it weren't for Xuanhe's help and the control of my poisonous body, it would be extremely difficult to discover this world hidden under the poison god and demon pool. After a while, there were some doubts in the little doctor's beautiful eyes. She naturally knew that if she wanted to catch up with the current Xuanhe, she could only rely on the behemoth of the poison god palace behind her, but the danger contained in the unknown world below was too strange. Xuanhe's mind is extremely contradictory at this time. On the one hand, he doesn't want Xuanhe to take risks, but on the other hand, he really needs the following things, and if he wants to explore the world below, he must need the help of Xuanhe and others, so he falls inside an endless loop. Brother Xuanhe. Xuanhe was thoughtful, as if she had seen the thoughts of the little medical fairy around her, and then called out softly. The meaning of the words was very clear. Well, let's go. The 2 of them looked at each other, and their hearts were in harmony, and there was no need to say more. At that time, Xuanhe snorted coldly, and the majestic flames spread out, forming a protective barrier of holy flames on everyone, and together they quickly approached this green enchantment. The space below, I'm afraid. Approaching the green barrier, it was so thick and sturdy that it caused several people to look at each other for a while. The short-lived poison god Cauldron, the snake and scorpion poisonous man, the green barrier, the unknown world. All traces show that this place is definitely not simple. If it fails this time, I am afraid that the information here will be completely exposed soon, and it will be difficult to go deep into it at that time. If you want to break through this layer of enchantment, you may not be able to rely on brute force alone. A few minutes later, Xuanhe probed into the conclusion. The green barrier conjunctiva on the edge of the barrier is like a layer of life-like liquid, viscous and surging, which invisibly brings Xuanhe and others a sense of indifference. Let me try. At this time, Xuanhe and Xuanhe started at the same time, and then the 2 of them held hands together and walked towards the barrier slowly. Xuanhe and Poison Soul Child stood on the spot. Judging from the exploration they just made, the barrier here is endless. It seems that every time you take a step forward, the barrier will take a step back, and it will never end. Wang buzz. However, The light above Zunar's body was very bright, and there was no situation where the two sides retreated. The two delicate bodies instantly disappeared into the green enchantment. Immediately, the artifact bracelet in Zunar's hand buzzed. When the artifact bracelet hummed, a strange groove like a spring appeared on the green barrier. Throw the poisonous beast essence and blood light ball and poison pill in your hand into the enchantment spring. Quick! As the green spring eyes flashed away in the enchantment, the five-legged golden crow standing on Zunar's shoulder said abruptly. Boom! The jade hand twisted, and two groups of light essences suddenly entered into it under the control of the little medical fairy. Wong buzz! The void trembled, and bursts of ancient humming sounds swept out. The sound is vast, like the crisp sound of the collision of ancient bells and cauldrons, which is awe-inspiring. Quick! The voice sounded, and everyone's bodies poured into it directly and disappeared. And as Xuanhe and others entered it, the eyes of the snake and scorpion venomous man returned to a dead gray, but the power exerted by the little medical immortal slowly dissipated. Even because he got those green enchantments, the green light in the middle is moisturizing. The strength of this guy is actually stronger than the previous Fang's elder. Bang bang bang! In the dark green strange passage, Xuanhe pulled Zunar and Xiaoyi Xian with his left and right palms. With the help of the glazed holy flame on his body, he could clearly detect whether there were other unknowns in this passage. Biology. After leaving this passage, you must not leave me 1 meter away. Remember, every second, in the dark green passage, there are countless green light spots flickering along the way. The light spots seem to contain some kind of sleeping creature, giving Xuanhe an extreme shock. Go! I don't know what kind of creatures inhabit this world, but Xuanhe vaguely felt that if they stayed here for a while longer, the danger they faced would increase exponentially. The deep black eyes twitched, and Xiaoyan's speed suddenly soared, breaking free from the encirclement of these strange light spots in one fell swoop, breaking through the void here, and instantly entered another space. Boom! Breaking through the world composed of countless green light spots, Zaidu stepped into a mysterious space, and a deafening metal collision sounded. But looking around, what caught my eye was a dark void that seemed slightly quiet. With just such a glance, a majestic breath of ancient vicissitudes filled his heart, causing Xiaoyan's whole body to freeze, as if with Xiaoyan's perception, he had no idea how many years this space had existed. Double space. The five-legged golden crow is well informed, and it took a long time to slowly open its mouth. With its great power, it is natural to build a space, but it is first protected by a green enchantment, and then there is a scene of green world isolation, and then only later it is the multiple means of the core void. Even with its strength at the peak of the fifth layer reincarnation, it cannot do it at all. It's over. Zunar turned her head and spoke almost instantly, her eyes fixed on a dim green stone gate in the void. Above the green stone gate, there was no power fluctuation, but it was this quiet environment that made Xuanhe and others have to pay attention. It is said that there is a supreme treasure land scattered in the demon world in the Poison God Palace, and it has been searched by the demon world for countless years to no avail. That place is called the place where the Poison God fell. This, here, this is the most precious treasure in the Poison God realm, the place left behind by the fall of the Palace Master of the Poison God Palace. Xuan Courtyard. Poison God's suspect tomb. The ferocious and fiery voice almost roared out of Poison Soul's mouth. The latter's pupils shrank slightly, his eyes locked tightly on the pale Shimon, and he roared like crazy. With the poisonous woman in the Poison God Palace for many years, she is very clear about these secrets, and now she has seen it with her own eyes, and at a glance, she recognizes these legendary places that only exist in the devil world. It was an ordinary green stone gate, only a few feet in size, barely able to pass through an adult human, without any strange power, as if it was connected to another space. But if you carefully sense the past, you will be able to find that the hidden fluctuations that spread out from the invisible above the stone gate are like eternal existence here. An ancient and desolate atmosphere, if for nothing, spreads in this dead void. That kind of power is enough to make both the holy flame and the artifact bracelet buzzing, feeling and inexplicably powerful. For the convenience of reading next time, you can click on the favorites below to record the reading record of this time. Chapter 2338 Xuan Courtyard, Poison God's Suspect Tomb, and you can see it when you open the bookshelf next time. If you like Fighting the Heavens God, Yandi, Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. Continuing from the previous episode 2323, Fighting the Heavenly God of Yan Emperor, to find the latest chapter. Poison God? Xuanhe looked at the fanatical poisonous soul beside him with some surprise. Obviously, Xuanhe did not believe that there were fighting gods in the Great Thousand World. If they had a fighting god, why would their Xiao clan disappear so bizarrely? Why is it still so eroded by the outside world? And not to mention battle god, just the reincarnation level powerhouse is also the real powerhouse level in the Great Thousand World. Similar to those who surpass the five-fold reincarnation level, they have a unique and terrifying power in their hands. As for Dou Shen's words, it is obviously beyond Xuanhe's imagination and understanding. What kind of existence is the so-called god? Cover the sky with one hand? Destroy everything? Or above all else? And this world, has there really been a fighting *** powerhouse? The poison *** in our mouth is not the real fighting god. The fighting god powerhouse seems to have only appeared once or twice in the countless records of the entire Great Thousand World. And the poison god, that is the strongest person in our poison god realm, and also the representative of the entire poison god palace. Every strong person who can obtain the title of poison god is the existence of the supreme being of the devil realm. Even the strong in the center of the demon world will fear the poison god. Since ancient times, there have only been 3 poison gods in the poison god realm. The 3 poison gods existed in their respective eras, and they all led the poison god realm to become the first force in the demon realm. The poisonous soul looked crazy, and just by looking at this stone gate, he noticed a lot of hidden information. Is the poison ** suspicious? The little Dr. Fairy was attracted by the words of the poison soul, and immediately the poison pill and the poisonous body in the body slowly burst out an extremely greedy aura. Even if opening this entrance loses all the essence of the 8 poisonous monsters, it is extremely worthwhile. Go! As soon as the voice fell, everyone slowly walked towards the interior. A few lights and shadows moved in this quiet void, and after Xuanhe stepped into the stone gate together, the moment they stepped into the stone gate, everyone's blood and soul seemed to freeze, a long and vast breath. They cannot exert any power when they are suppressed. After passing the breath, there was not much turbulence when penetrating the green stone gate, but when penetrating, Xuanhe's eyes shrank fiercely, his heart was beating violently at this moment, and the clan-marked eye between his eyebrows seemed to be affected by some such a provocation, automatically protect the master. Within a minute, everyone's speed skyrocketed and they easily came to the end of the stone gate. Gollum, this is the place where the poison god fell. Poison Soul Child couldn't hide the excitement in his eyes, he turned out to be dancing like crazy. Poison God's suspicious tomb. 4 hot gold wings appeared on the void door curtain in front of Xuanhe, and the ancient font revealed a terrifying coercion that surpassed the heavens and the earth. Finally found it. At this moment, the smile on Xiao Yixian's pink cheeks seemed somewhat happy. The dazzling dark green world was actually an extremely huge courtyard. Xuanhe and the others left the end of the stone gate abruptly and poured into the poisonous tomb. The dark green light fills every corner of the place, making people feel frightened. Although these are poisonous mists, they do not have any offensive power. The little medical fairy felt for a while, then shook his head, raised his beautiful eyes and looked into the depths of the courtyard. It seemed that the greedy aura that erupted from the poison pill in his body came from the depths. Should be deep. Zunar artifact bracelet buzzed, pointing to the center of this courtyard world together. Let's go. Everyone looked at each other, and then began to move with extreme vigilance. This courtyard is extremely large, with many exquisite attic wooden houses inside, and many walls separating the inside and outside. The surrounding trees are lush, and the strange flowers are scattered in some dark corners of the courtyard. The elegance of flowing water is quite poetic. After advancing for a few minutes, he successfully reached the central part of the courtyard. At this time, his vision suddenly widened, and a water pond appeared in front of him. There seemed to be some ancient power lingering in the pond, which seemed gloomy. On the edge of the pond, there is a wooden board extending from the wooden house. At this time, there is a figure on the wooden board. The 3rd generation poison god, Xuanhe. Your Majesty Xuanhe? Looking at this emaciated figure, Poison Soul Child was shocked. He couldn't help swallowing a mouthful of saliva and opened his mouth slowly. This man was dressed in a blue robe and sat half squatting on the wooden board. There seemed to be a dark green liquid flowing in his slender fingers, and he slowly held the fishing rod in his hand to fish. He looked leisurely. I didn't expect to meet the third-generation poison god here. At this moment, Xuanhe also spoke with some relief, but the quiet atmosphere in this courtyard attic actually caused Xuanhe's delicate body to hum and tremble, and the blood in her body slowly became cold. Wrong. Not at all. At this time, Xuanhe didn't have any look of joy. The eye of clan marks on his forehead was always passively opened, as if he was tabooing something. The body and vision of the figure in front of him were extremely real, but it gave Xuanhe an extremely strange sense of astonishment. In addition to the strange flowers and plants he saw along the way. Tick-tock. At the same time, sweat dripped from Xuanhe's forehead, which was particularly crisp in this quiet courtyard. I'll go take a look. Seeing that everyone fell into a stalemate for a while, Poison Soul Z set an example, then slowly moved his footsteps and walked towards the position of the Xuan poison god. Return. Xuanhe didn't know what was wrong, but the creepy aura from the eyes of the clan lines and the blood in the body was definitely not fake, and his face changed slightly and scolded. Wong buzz. A dark green ripple suddenly spread out from the body of the poison god Black Crane, who was sitting down. Approaching the entire Xuan courtyard, the space of the poison god's suspicious tomb fluctuated violently, and vaguely there were countless mourning and mournful breaths transmitted from all directions. In an instant, a terrifying force was formed. It was a coercion of the soul that seemed to penetrate the heavens and the earth, and it spread out without any conscription. Gulu. Sacred Movement Realm. Seeing this scene, Xuanhe's face became extremely solemn, his palms quickly turned, and 5 holy patterns poured out at the same time. Bang bang bang. Once the scorching holy flame power and soul power clashed, the world was filled with the smell of gunpowder that had not been seen for a long time, and Xuanhe's seemingly terrifying attack was instantly engulfed by it. Peefed. The attack was broken. Xuanhe didn't dare to hold back any hands, rushed in front of the crowd and opened his arms in one fell swoop. He was hit by the attack immediately, blood spilled from the corners of his mouth, and his complexion became much darker. This level of soul power is not a little bit stronger than the powerful Demon King in the immortal travel realm that he met in the Great Thousand Palaces. And if this space is really the place where the poison god fell, it is probably not that simple to obtain the mantle of the poison god. The most important thing, the 4 characters of the poison god's suspicious tomb always make Xuanhe feel that the atmosphere here is not right. For the convenience of reading next time, you can click on the favorites below to record this time. Chapter 2339, The Third Generation Poison God, Xuan. The reading record, you can see it next time you open the bookshelf. If you like Fighting the Heavens God, Yandy, please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. Continuing from the previous episode 2324, Fighting the Heavenly God of Yan Emperor, to find the latest chapter. What happened? Seeing such a strange scene, Poison Soul hurriedly retreated, and then stood on the path at the edge of the wall. That circle of strange power poured out, and it turned out to be scars all over Xuanhe's body, and the place returned to calm. Retreat. Come on. In an instant, Xuanhe didn't care about the large and small scars on his body, but the strange meaning in his heart was very strong, and he pulled the 2 women back quickly. The fluctuations returned by the eye of clan marks made Xuanhe feel that the legendary third-generation poison god Xuan seemed to have a lot of grudges with the Xiao clan. When retreating from the depths of this courtyard attic, the eye of the clan has been on alert, and it seems to be taboo from its appearance. Peefed. At the same time, when Xuanhe and the others started to move, they seemed to have disturbed some mysterious creature. In this courtyard attic, dark green mist gushed out from the ground, covering all the surrounding walls and paths and other retreats. At this moment, the figure in front of him sitting quietly on the wooden board, but his body was slightly touched, as if an ancient aura that had been sleeping quietly for countless years, slowly woke up. The third-generation poison god. Xuan. Xuanhe's face was solemn, his eyes fixed on the pond and this strange figure in front of him. Judging from Xuanhe's current perception, This guy is no different from a real human being, whether it is vitality, breath or appearance. But if such a strong man who has survived for countless years, if he is still alive, how could he live in such a place? Gollum. Everyone swallowed a mouthful of saliva with difficulty, and then stared at the figure in front of them. It's been a long time since humans entered here. The poison god Xuanhe slowly got up, then shook the wooden fishing rod in his hand, turned around and looked at Xuanhe and the others with a smile. Xuanhe and the others were stared at like this, and their minds became dazed. Even the flow of blood and power in the body instantly solidified. An irresistible coercion of heaven and earth slowly radiated from the guy in front of him. Tick-tock. With the awakening of the poisonous Xuanhe, a strange bubble of bubbles suddenly appeared in the pond below the wooden board, as if something could compete with it. This guy is not human. In an instant, the little medical fairy was staring at the man and the scene where the pool water below became illusory, and after a while, he suddenly uttered a shocking sentence. "Humph, I'm not human? Little girl, do you know who you are talking to now?" Poison god Xuanhe may have slept for too long, but now he has just woken up, and his body was walking on the wooden board, but he staggered, facing the words of the little doctor, with a sneering look. "In my opinion, you are not a poison god." In an instant, Xuanhe on the side was also holding the jade hand of the little medical fairy, and then the artifact bracelet on the wrist surged, directly vetoing. The 17th artifact of the human world, the five-legged golden crow. The poison god Xuanhe was so asserted by the two women that he immediately looked down, and was instantly surprised. The spirit of the poison god Cauldron. As a master and servant, the act of taking your master's body without authorization can be regarded as deceiving your master and destroying your ancestors, and you are not ashamed of the world. The five-legged golden crow screened its breath, and the golden flames flowed slightly, standing on Xuanhe's shoulders, and a strong aura of who was fighting for the front swept out. "You, how did you know?" Listening to the assertions made by several people one after another, Xuanhe, the poison god, trembled slightly, and even his tone of voice became extremely cold and ferocious. The tomb of the poison god is the place where the poison god fell. There are countless poisonous organs in it, but now that we are entering here, there is no poisonous fog of any organs. In this case, someone must have taken the lead. And the third-generation poison god is a strong man of the same era as the master. I have had the honor to hear from the master that the third-generation poison god has a cauldron spirit in his hands. Although he is powerful, his nature is stubborn. The master has long expected that this guy will probably have more troubles in the future. The five-legged golden crow opened his mouth, and there was no negotiating tone in his voice, but a very sarcastic disdain. This kind of guy who guards himself, deceives his teachers and destroys his ancestors, is not worthy of his respect at all, even if this guy's strength is even more tyrannical than himself today. Ha ha ha. I was born and died countless times for that guy, Xuanhe, the *** of poison. It's better for Xuanhe to die. Not only will he not sacrifice his own strength to me, but he will also suppress and bury me here. It's all his fault. What a ** of poison, he's just a villain who obeys yin and violates yin. You all have to die. Poison transformation heavenly origin array. A ferocious and crazy voice suddenly surged from the body of the poisonous * Xuanhe, and a dazzling scarlet poisonous mist came out quietly, accompanied by an endless storm of poisonous mist. Those storms easily surrounded the entire courtyard, and the spots of light seemed to form a hub for a connected array. The blessing of the poisonous mist and the power of the formation is even more tyrannical and domineering than the strongest formation that Xuanhe is currently controlling. Guru, it's not advisable to stay here for a long time. You several team up to break the time and space. Let's go. I will temporarily resist this spirit of poison god Cauldron with this senior. Poison Soul Son was determined to die. The five-legged golden crow roared lowly, and the golden rays of light around its body flourished. Above its wings, golden scorching suns appeared one by one, with a terrifying and majestic power. Puff puff. This pond is weird. All the fluctuations in the body seem to come from it. At this moment of life and death, Xuanhe suddenly looked at the pond beside his feet in a trance. The water in the pond fluctuates uncommonly, and there are vaguely some meeting creatures, but a discerning person can see through it at a glance. I am afraid that this pond is the real killer in this poisonous tomb. The terrifying poisonous mist contained in the pond, even for the poisonous souls and Xuanhe, the two powerful practitioners of poisonous arts, they are dead. Trust me. On the ground on the side, the five-legged golden crow and the spirit of the poison god Cauldron started to fluctuate extremely terribly, but the strength of the three is obviously not above the same level, and their defeat is probably only a matter of time. Tick-tock! The water surface of the pond is a full tens of meters, and it surrounds most of the core courtyard. However, at this time, above the entire pond, there are bursts of poisonous fog that is enough to make people feel dizzy. Due to the gaze, the danger contained in the dense pool of poisonous mist is even far more than the threat of the spirit of the poison *** and the poison formation. Once you step into it, even your body Xuanhe, who is immortal and immortal, is afraid that he can only end up in the end of both body and spirit. It was a pond of poisonous fog like lava, and it was daunting to see it at first glance. How dare you have the idea of stepping into it? Go! In an instant, Xuanhe gritted his teeth, holding the two women by his left and right hands, and rushed into them instantly. The body poured into the poisonous fog purgatory pond, and the whole body, skin, flesh and so on began to crumble a little bit. It seems that in this poisonous fog pond, all the vitality and power are fading and shattering at a lightning speed. Right. At the same time, in the poisonous mist pond, a faint vortex of poisonous mist, as if being called by Xuanhe's clan marked eye, surging slightly, and then, without the spirit of poison god Cauldron being aware of it, it will be completely destroyed. Everyone, slowly absorb. For the convenience of reading next time, you can click the favorite below to record this time. Chapter 2340 The Spirit of Poison God Cauldron. The reading record. You can see it when you open the bookshelf next time. If you like Fighting the Heavens God, Yandy, please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis.